Hello, people. Let's have a little conversation today. I'm going to free flow this. It was a transmission that came through to me when I was writing, and here we are. So, what I would like to invite you to kind of step into is to imagine yourself being in a container, in a space where you were given full permission to be all that you are, to express your core and true essence openly and freely, without any judgment, without any criticism, without any labels on whether that's good or bad, right or wrong, too much, too little, not enough, too much, whatever. Just a container, a space where you truly get to be all that you are, where you get to own every bit of quirkiness, every bit of craziness, every bit of uniqueness, and really being able to be the rebel that you're here to be. Not from a place of wanting to fuck shit up, because I clearly had been in that stage as well, but really the unique parts of you which you have denied, the unique part of you which you have repressed because it doesn't fit into the social narrative. So for example, for those of you who don't know, I had really straight, long, black hair for good 15 years of my life. And I have been chemically straightening it on a yearly basis since I was 14. Because that fits into the perfect Asian girl look. It wasn't until end of November where I've decided to really went like shoo. So it is a bit longer, but I went like super short, dyed with like, dark red streaks, and I have never felt freer. And that was the first time I felt like I truly allow who I really am to be seen, where I accept my uniqueness, because you don't get a lot of Asians with frizzy curly hair. This is my natural curls. To finally choose myself as who I want to be versus the social narrative or construct of what, the typical Asian girl should look like. And that was one of the most profound moments where I felt like, wow, I'm finally home in that sense. And you can also definitely see from the energy, the inner radiance that comes with it from that level of radical acceptance. So I just want you to imagine yourself in a space like that. It doesn't have to be with a hair. It could be in terms of your creativity. It could be, what you want to do, what you want to say, the causes that you want to, really show up for, whatever it is. Just a permission to be all that you are. And for my women, like my strong, ambitious, driven queens out there, who used to take so much pride, or probably still do, in being a type A, in being ambitious, in being driven, in being able to get shit done, in being able to be a CEO in your life and every areas in your business. Just imagine that you are in a space where you give yourself the permission to allow it to be easy, to allow yourself to feel all the pleasure, allow yourself to let someone lead you, allow yourself to be soft and sensitive, and just be you. How would that feel like for you? Or how would that look like for you? Or how would that be different for you? If you find yourself having like a splash vision or something, and then something else stronger, like, come on, don't be silly. You are insert whatever words that you have, and then that vision goes away. I invite you to observe that monkey mind, that ego that's trying to say that, hey, you don't have to be soft, you know, you're here to be a tough bitch, and drop back into that vision, that feeling where you get to be in so much flow and still do the soul and still honor your show up for your soul mission. How would that look like for you? Because that changes everything when you come from a place of truly enjoying every moment, to see the pleasure and the joy in everything that you do. And that would lead you to make empowering and liberating decisions, rather than seeing that, you know, in whatever investment, whatever choices that you make, as a way of, okay, I have to do that so that I will make more money, so that I can call in the relationship I want, so that I can whatever it is that you want. Because when you make decisions or investment from that point of view, you're inherently saying that I'm not enough now, so I have to do A, B, and C in order to get what I desire. But what if you flip that narrative, you flip that story, and say that I invest in this, I choose this because that's what I desire. I want this, I choose this because I'm worthy as it is. Then there ain't no reasons as to why I have this desire. It's just because I'm enough the way I am. And anything else, the money, the clients, the dream man, the conscious king, the lifestyle, you know, the whatever it is that you want, is simply a reflection, an extension of who you are as your being. And every choices that you make comes from that place because you gave yourself the permission to do that. And it makes a whole difference from that change in perspective. Because when I went through my spiritual awakening, and I do believe that this is the shadow and the downside of being a type A, ambitious, driven woman, where you have just, your mindset is just so solid, that you're so determined, that you're so resilient, that you think, and you probably are, like, you know, you have this knowing in your mind that you can do this. But somehow in your body, in your subconscious, in your self-worth, in your self-love, you still feel that you have to hustle for whatever it is that you need to. And I'm going to share my own personal experience in terms of this, where throughout 2020, I know, based on my past results and all that stuff, like, I know that I can do, you know, I'm able to, you know, what kind of men that I want in my life, and I'm able to attract that. I'm able to know what kind of programs, experience, and coaching programs that I can put out to my audience, and knowing that that's able to change their life. I know all of this in my head because that's how I am able to build the success that I've had till today. So my mind knew. But at the same time, when I was trying to transition or shift towards a more embodied business, something that is led by the heart, something that's led from pleasure, and really honoring my role here as a creator, as an artist, above everything else. Even though my mind knew that I could do it, my physical reality wasn't reflecting that. And that was because there was a lot of deep self-love issue. There's a lot of deep self-worth issue that was hidden under all the glitters of my success, all the glitters of the money I made. And you know, outside the facade of this confident woman, outside the facade of this woman that's so extrovert, that's a social butterfly, there is this little girl that is still hustling for her approval, that is still hustling from her validation. Except this time, it is not through her business. This time, it's through how much meditation she has done, how much spiritual practices she has done, how much healing she has done. So from that point of view, I seem a lot more conscious, a lot more spiritual, but inherently, the core wound of still seeking and needing the validation from someone else is still there. And the only difference also is that I have now swapped my matrix ego to spiritual ego. Because if you're on your spiritual journey, I don't know where you are right now, but, give me a hands up or, leave a comments down below. If you have gone through a phase or you're currently in this phase where you go, okay, I can't hang around this person because they're not spiritual enough. I can date that guy because he's not conscious enough. Oh wait, I only go to spiritual activities now. Okay, I'm going to be plant-based. Okay, I can't drink. Like all that bullshit. It's essentially, I've just replaced my material ego with spiritual ego. And I'm saying this from a point of love and compassion and no longer from a place of, well, I should have known better, but more from something that I've observed and being able to, work through and integrate as I continue to expand into my truest version of myself. So that was basically what 2020 was. And, 2020 has been incredible because it really has brought up I've extracted, healed a lot of deep root traumas, wounds, whatever you want to call it. And I'm really grateful for that because I feel like I have now come out from the other side. Like I've actually got rid of a lot of shit from my body from an emotional, etheric point of view. So that's really good. But at the same time, I find myself going into this loop of, okay, I need to continue healing. There's more to come out so that I can make the money I want, so that I can teach people, so that I can call in the dream man that I want. And there's nothing wrong with doing the work. In fact, I'm all for doing the work. But when it comes from that perspective of I have to do the work so that whatever it is can happen, can manifest, versus I am incredible just the way I am. I am enough the way just I am. There's always things to be shared as I expand further because that's how I get to meet myself on a deeper level, because that's how I get to witness all that I am. I'm doing that because I am worth it. The desire that I have is there because I decide that's what I want. And all of that is going to happen as an extension of who I am as a being. So essentially, the work that you do is still the same, but the energy that you put out is different. And this is one of the biggest takeaway that I've had from 2020 towards the end of last year. Like I realized that I needed to heal my inner masculine because of how far I have gone in my feminine, and also, being able to access all these portals and all these different veils that I get to do just through my body. It becomes a little bit addictive because you're like, okay, what do I need to know now? And one of the biggest things that I have come to realization is that we still need the masculine. Of course we do. We still need the matrix and the material world because, let's be real here, as much as I love the wild, I also love my luxury villa. I love the modern stuff, like, technology, being able to communicate with you right now across this piece of equipment. Both of them has to coexist together, and it's something that you're able to dance in harmony. I think one thing that we all need to remember is that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. Our soul is having a human experience in the physical plane. We are not a physical body trying to have a quantum experience. There is a difference. So we are a spiritual being, a soul having a human experience in the physical plane, not a physical body trying to have a quantum experience. That is like probably like my best quote that I've come out in 2021. And it is a phrase that I want you to really sit with that and feel into that. And the reason why this is so important, it's because until I started integrating and embodying my inner masculine again, until I start to truly embody the traits that I wanted in a man: integrity, emotional intelligent, grounded in my being, being able to hold this space, fun, without being overcritical and over judgmental, because those were the inner patriarch that's within us. I was going around circle. I was just overly floaty, and then there comes to a moment it's like, okay, Alan, this is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And things were very, not hard, but it was exhausting. It wasn't like I wasn't in this flow that I was, and and business was really hard, even though I knew that that was my soul mission, even though I knew that this is my path. Until I've decided to be really honest with myself and to hold myself in such integrity, where I put my role as an artist, as a creator first, and really focus on embodying that archetype, and also learning how to accept and learning how to embrace the matrix, the part of me that like pretty things. You have no idea how excited I was when I went to a mall, when I walked into a mall in February this year. I was like, oh my fucking God, this felt incredible. I've not been in a mall for over a year. And it's really different this time. It's not from a place of, okay, I have to buy designer bag because I worked so hard for it. I have to buy designer bag because I have to fit in, my successful friends to look a certain way. I buy things because I desire, because it makes me feel good, because, that inner princess or the inner queen with me wants to indulge in such luxury in life. And I'm fine with that. And I realized one of the biggest reasons for that was after I went through my spiritual awakening and sexual awakening journey back in between June to about August in 2019, I had to go back to Sydney for family obligations, which I have since realized that it's something that I can choose to say no without losing any love that I have for my family. But at the same time, I do that while honoring myself, while honoring what my heart true desire is. And I remember being back in one of the most gorgeous city in the world, in my apartment in one of the best neighborhoods. I was really, really unhappy, and I was really depressed, because my heart wanted to be in Bali, because that's where my heart was and still is. And here we are still here 2 years later. Like, that was probably the darkest moment that I've had, and I have become really, really introverted. Like, I just did not want to leave my house. And I think that that's also when I have really experienced my very first depression, where I just could not get out of bed. In the past, I think being someone who is highly avoidant and dissociative, I would just, you know what, I have strong mindset, out of sight, out of mind, and not deal with it. And that's why it's all clogged up in my body. But that was the first time, once you open the floodgate of being able to cry, everything changes. So that was the first time I realized, wow, I look at the apartment, I look at the beautiful things that I've had, that I've worked hard to have, my designer bags, my shoes, the makeup, the beauty products, the perfumes, all these beautiful stuff that I've worked so hard for, which, by the way, I loved. It's not like I just bought shit that I didn't like, but at the same time, I was like, I'm really, really unhappy. I have this successful business. And it was funny because prior to my sexual and spiritual awakening, I had this big vision to scale my business to at the time my client was offering me like a full-time consulting work as an expat. And at the same time, I was also pitching for ideas to white label my marketing agency. There was all these big, shiny success, next level that I was shooting for when I hit my 6 figures mark in my business. Like, I was actually really excited about it. But at the same time, that was also when I got hit by a spiritual awakening, and that's what I like to call a Bali fuck. So this is for my, back to what I said earlier, back to, my successful, driven, ambitious women out there. You are able to be successful, to be driven, to make a lot of money, but from a place of pleasure, from a place of flow, from a place from doing what is it that you truly want to do. Because I feel that for me at that time, and what I've noticed with a lot of my clients, is that the need to scale your business, to need to build $1 billion business, does not come from a place of pleasure. It doesn't come from a place of like, this is really what I want to do, but from a place of wanting the love, wanting to be validated. For me, that was what I knew from a young age, that's how I get my love. That's how I get my belonging, is through achieving. And I remember, like, I didn't have a lot of friends in my primary school, and when I went to high school, like, my results became better. So I was like the girl that was in the top 3, competing with 2 other men, and achievement became what my body, what my soul, what my being knew, which I get to belong somewhere, which I get to have friends, which I get to be loved. Wow, that came out, and wow, I don't think I've actually openly shared that anywhere besides my journal. And being able to actually share it with such peace, like, it was just like a neutral emotional permission, and there wasn't any pain or like sensations on my body. Oh, this is what healing looks like, guys. And back to where I was, I believe that that's how a lot of us knew how to be loved, and that was the only way that we knew. And as a result of that, we might start off entrepreneurship as a way of freedom, because that was the way, that was definitely, what was for me. But what it became, it has become something where I attach a part of my, well, not a part, a lot of my identity with, to show who I was. And even though I had, I was very successful by the books, there were moments where I still feel empty. I still feel weird. I don't know what that feeling was. Like, there was this void. I don't know if any of you noticed this, but this came to my attention like 2 days ago, where a void is simply a void. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but I thought it was really fascinating. And when I first finally decide to acknowledge those feelings, to finally like, okay, you are there, you are real, instead of trying to avoid it through working, through drinking, through being sociable. And then there's this guilt that came about and say, you really shouldn't be feeling this way. What you have experienced is what some might not even experience in this lifetime. You know, you have this successful business, you get to travel around the world. Like, why are you feeling this way? Are you being ungrateful? And then, you know, there were also like, you know, my parents, well, my mom particularly saying that I shouldn't be too ambitious, like I should be grateful and all that stuff. And then there's this guilt of me feeling this emotion, like, why am I feeling this void despite all the shiny things that I've had? I've done everything right. I've even quit my corporate job. I've even got to travel. I get to meet amazing people. Why am I feeling this way? And that's the thing, right? There is no right or wrong to feel your emotions. Regardless of whether you're privileged or not, your emotions are valid. Regardless of whether you have a shit, like, our emotions are valid. And whatever unprocessed emotions that we've had throughout our years, if it shows up, it is valid. There is no rules that you have to go through a certain life events to be able to feel your emotions. And this is the reason why there's so many successful women and men that are repressing their emotions because it looks weak. It feels like it's not safe to feel them because you have to have your shit together. So just imagine back to the space, the container in which you have the permission to be all that you are, including the emotions that you want to feel, including the craziest, dirtiest sexual desire that you have, including the fact that you just want to paint by the beach and make enough to live by really comfortably and to donate to charity, whatever it is, that is in you. How would that feel and how would that look like if you simply allow that to show? If you simply just allow it to express? And if you're able to witness and see yourself at such raw and vulnerable state, that is your most powerful state. Because when you can see yourself at that like naked nothingness, where you're on all fours crying, screaming, like in this emotional mess, like what the society likes to call it, that's when you get to create a whole new reality based on your true essence, based on who you are. When you come from that state, you are finally allowing all of you to be seen. And when you come from that place, the clients, the men or women, the life, whatever it is that you want, start showing up for you. But you first have to show up for yourself. One of the biggest integration that I have been working on in the past month or two is that, you know, it has been out there for a while that I want a man who is able to meet me at the level that I want to be met. And what came up for me is, have I allowed myself to meet myself at that level? And this is why I'm such a huge advocate for embodiment work, because you can know it on a mind level, especially if you have such strong mind, you have such strong determination, if you have such strong power that even hypnosis doesn't crack you. Like, I was having this conversation with this guy the other day, and he was like, yeah, you know, like, I've been to a few hypnosis sessions and I've never really knocked out. I've only done one hypnosis session with my ex-coach, now good friend Nico. Like, even then I wasn't completely unconscious, but his voice did pop up in one of my sexual encounters, so it definitely worked. But this is the downside, the downfall of like your spiritual expansion, to coming back to your core, to remember who you are, is that your mind know that you can do it, but whatever unresolved trauma, whatever unprocessed emotions that's in your body, is what that is going to hold you back. And going back to what we spoke about at the start, is that you are doing this work because you are just returning home to who you are. It's not that you are any less worthy than the person next to you. It's not that I have this special ability that you don't have. We all have the same psychic power, ability, whatever you want to call that. What you see in me is what you have in you. And my job as a guide, as a mentor, is to help you remember all the parts of you that you have forgotten. Is to help you extract the essence, the parts that you see in me that is within you, to help you remember those parts of you, so that you can be the fullest expression of who you are and really live up to your fullest potential and creative expression. And whatever that comes up for you in this container where you get, like, where you're granted full permission to be who you are and do the things that really brings you joy and pleasure, that's your guide. That's the guide to your authentic path. And if you need extra guidance and support to have this container, to have this space for you to remember parts of you that have forgotten, to remember who you are, to remember what is in your home, your emotions, your feelings, the parts of you that is dying to express herself, the parts of you that wants a voice so badly, i.e. your intuition. Welcome to my space. I have now 4 new openings for my one-on-one deep soul penetration mentorship. There's a 4 and 8 months container, and this is where we really dive deep. We are peeling off those layers of your wounded masculine, your wounded feminine, the parts of you that you have repressed, the parts of emotions that you haven't expressed, so that you can truly connect it to your essence and your power. And you're not doing this so that you can build your next $1 million business. You're not doing this so that your dream man would show up. You do this because that's what you come here to do. You do this because this is a commitment for yourself to show up, to choose yourself, to stand in your fullest power and unlock your creative potential. That's why you choose it. And if you want to choose it for another reason, I'm probably not the person for you. Sure, later on, if what comes up is that you want to grow your embodied business, you want to, magnetize your dream man, we can work on that. But how we are starting off, how we're starting the relationship is getting to know you, know your body, know your sexuality, know the energy that exists within you, that is already within you, and to do the deep shadow work. And if this sounds like you, and if this is the support that you want, if you want to make the expanded state of pleasure your default state of being, welcome home. Drop me a message if that sounds like you to get started. We can apply directly via the link in bio, or I can put it down below. But remember, your body is your temple of truth. You just gotta return home. Thank you for tuning in. This was a very different type of video, but also I feel like this is more of like that grounded feminine stage. So talk to you guys soon.